We continue now at the top of Daf Yomi Gemara and Meseches Yoma. This is Yoma Daf 18b. We're continuing now a brisa which is enumerating a list of foods that cause emissions. V'hashechlayim, shechlayim means cress. V'chalaglugos, that means purslane. V'habeitzim and eggs. V'hagargir, gargir is arugula. These are various foods again that cause emissions. Gemara now quotes a pasuk. V'yotza echad el asad l'laket oros. The pasuk says in Sefer Malachim that a person went out to collect oros. Tanim Shmeid Rabbi Meir was taught in the name of Rabbi Meir. Ze gargir, that refers to gargir. That's the same gargir in this brisa. So again, the arugula, it's the same thing. It's also called oros in Tanakh. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, Lama nikra shemon oros. Why are they called oros? Shemeiros esvainayim, because they're good for the eyes. They improve a person's vision. Amar Rav Huna says, Hamotzi gargir im yachol ochlo. If you find, it should be hamotzi without the yud. If a person finds a gargir, if he's able to eat it, he should eat it. V'imlav, if he's not able to eat it, ma'aviro agabe einav, he should put it over his eyes. The point of what Rav Huna is saying is that even if you don't eat it, it could be beneficial for the eyes if it's placed over the eyes. Amar Rav Papa says, begargira mitzarnoa. The best kind of gargir for this is the ones that grow on the border of the field. Rashi says, Hagadol ala meitzer, those that grows on the those that grow on the border. She'ein sevivos zera acher sheyachish kocho. There's no other plants nearby which would weaken it. Therefore, it still has its full potency. Amar Rav Gidol, Amar Rav. Rav Gidol says in the name of Rav. Achsenoi, if you have a guest coming to another city, staying in someone else's house, lo yochal beitzim, he shouldn't eat eggs. V'lo yishin b'talisa shel balabayis. He also shouldn't sleep in the talis of the balabayis. Rashi over here says, lo yochal beitzim shemivin li de keri. Beitzim bring a person to carry, bring a person again to this emission. Umisgana al bnei abayis, it's going to be a degradation. He's going to be looked down upon if he has a carry when he's a guest at this person's house. Similar idea, lo yishin b'talisa shel balabayis, shu miskasaba bayom. He shouldn't use the talis, he shouldn't sleep in it, which the balabayis uses that talis during the day. Shelo yimtza la carry. Again, we don't want to find carry on here. These are all ways to avoid this situation. And the Gemara continues, Rav ki mikla l'darshish. Rav, when he used to go to Darshish, machriz man have Yuma, he would make an announcement, who can I marry just for the day? Rashi over here says, Ki mikla l'darshish sham hayarog elelech. He was accustomed to going there. Man have Yuma, yesh isha shatinase li l'yoma shasaket kan. Is there a woman available that I can marry just for the day that I stay here? V'teitze la'achar mikan. And then afterwards I'm going to leave. Then he'll divorce her immediately after. But is there a woman that can spend the day with me for the day that I'm visiting this particular place? Gemara says similarly, Rav Nachman kad mikla l'shichnitziv. When Rav Nachman used to go to Shichnitziv, machriz man have Yoma, he made the same announcement, who is available for today. Gemara says, Vatanya, but we learned in a brisa, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, Lo yisa adam isha b'medina zu, v'yelech v'yisa isha b'medina acheres. A person should not marry a woman in one state and then go to another state and marry another woman. Shema yizdav guzei etzel, because maybe they're going to join together one to the other, meaning the son that was born in one city is going to end up marrying a daughter that was born in the other city. V'nim tzach, no seacho, so it's going to come out that a brother is going to marry a sister. In other words, no one's going to know who's related if a person is going to have wives in multiple cities. Umimali kol olam kula mamzerus, and then what's going to happen is the whole world is going to be filled up with mamzerus. V'al zen nemer, and it's on this kind of practice that the pasuk says umola haaretz zima, that the world is going to be filled with zima. Again, the same basic idea. You're going to have all kinds of relationships that are improper, that are going to develop if you have this kind of behavior. So the Gemara answers, Amri, they answer as follows, Rabbanan, when it comes to Rabbanan, meaning when it comes to individuals like Rav Nachman, who are famous Rabbanan, Kola Islu. There's a call that goes out. Everybody knows that the person who was born, let's say the child that was born from this relationship, is named after the Rabbanan, came from this particular rabbi. The Gemara says, still it's difficult. Vama Rava, didn't Rava say, Tavua lihinasiv in a spice, if a person asks a woman to get married and she agrees to marry, tzricha leishev shivanikiyim. The woman needs to sit 7 clean days. She's not allowed to marry immediately. Rashi over here says, tzricha leishev shivanikiyim, miyom shenitzrasis, from the day that the woman agrees to get married, she needs to wait at least 7 clean days. Shama machmas chimod ras adam, because we're afraid, because of the desire that she has now, maybe she sees some blood, so in order to make sure that the woman is tahor, so therefore she has to sit 7 nikiyim. So how could they marry on the day of? How could they say, is there any woman available to get married today if you have to wait 7 nikiyim? And so the Gemara says, Rabbanan Audui have a modilahu. The Rabbanan used to let people know that they were coming. They would let people know that they were on their way. Mikdam have a mekadmi mashadri shlucha, and they would send ahead of them. They would send a shliach, a messenger, to let them know, and therefore the woman would have time to prepare in such a situation. V'ba is saying, if you want, I could say another answer to what was going on over here. Yiduche have a miyachti lahu. They would not actually have relations with these women. They would just be in seclusion with them. The woman would be with them in whatever house they were staying at, but they wouldn't have relations. Because there's no comparison, somebody who has bread in his basket to somebody who does not have bread in his basket. Rashi over here says, again, they didn't have relations. Somebody who's married to a woman doesn't have the same kind of desire as someone who's not married, so it was a way of tamping down the desire, but it was not with the intention of having relations with these women. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Masru Bezin Lezikne Kahuna. The elders of the Bezin who had read before him the Seder Hayom, they now give him over to the elders of the Kahuna. The Helu Beis Haftinas, they bring him up to the Aliyas Beis Haftinas. Vishbiyu Viniftaru V'halchu Lahem. And then they administer an oath to him, and then they depart. Rashi over here explains, first, Masru Ziknei Bezin Shakaru Lefanim B'Seder Hayom. Again, these were the elders of Bezin that taught him the avod of the day. Leziknei Kahuna, they give him over to the elders of the Kahuna. Lalamdu Chafinas HaKetores Hamutelas Ola B'Yom HaKippurim Shedemar Malo Chafnav Ketores Samim V'Gomer. They taught him how to do the avoda with the ketores. The avoda koshehi. This was a difficult avoda to do, kedilakaman, as we're going to explain later on. And Beis Haftinas hayu osenas haketores. Beis Haftinas were the kohanim who made the ketores. Koshen oso ma'arvin samaneh. They're the ones that crushed it up and they mixed up the ingredients. Vihishbiyu, and then they administered to him an oath. Shalo yehei tzeduki, that he shouldn't perform the avoda like a tzeduki. Lasakin mibachutz, to set it up outside. Ulahachnas bifnim, and then bring it inside. Kidamrinim beGemara. That's all going to be explained to the Gemara, that tzedukim performed the avoda in the incorrect way, so they had to administer an oath to make sure that he did not do that. V'amru lo, and they said to him as follows, this is the oath, Ishe Kohen Gadol, anu shluchei bezdin, v'atosh shlucheinu shliach bezdin, Kohen Gadol, we are shluchei bezdin, you are our shliach, and you're also shliach bezdin, mashbiyan anu alech, we're giving you an oath, but mishashachin shmo b'bayis hazeh, and the one who resides in this house, shelo teshane davar mikol masha amarnu lach, that you should not deviate from all the instructions we're giving you, who porish uvocha v'hein porish uvocha, and he would then separate and cry, and they would separate and cry. And again, the Gemara will explain this as well. Im haya chacham dorish. Now, in order to keep him up at night, if he was a chacham, he would teach Torah. Rashi says, Im haya chacham dorish b'dvar halacha kol leil Yom Kippurim shelo yishin v'yira keri. He would teach divrei halacha the entire night of Yom Kippur. That way, he wouldn't fall asleep and become a Baal Keri. That's if he was a Talmud Chacham. V'im lav Talmidei Chachamim, if he was not a Talmud Chacham, Rashi says, V'im lav Chacham hu v'yodei lohavin v'lishmoa dvar halacha. He knows enough to understand halacha. However, v'eino yodei lidrosh darshan lafana. But he doesn't know how to darshan halacha himself. So then they would darshan to him. V'im lav Talmidei Chachamim darshan lafanav. Again, if he wasn't a Talmud Chacham at that level, they would teach him Torah. V'im rage likros korei. If he was accustomed to reading psukim, he reads psukim. V'im lav, and if not, koren lafanav, then they read the psukim in front of him. Uvamet koren lafanav, in what svarim do they read to him? Be'iyov, uve'ezra, uve'divrei hayamim. They would read him from Iyov, from Ezra, from divrei hayamim. Rashi says, shein devarim amshichen etz halev l'shomon v'ein shein achotfaso. Those are things that can interest a person, and the person's not going to fall asleep. Zechariah ben Kavutal Omer, Zechariah ben Kavutal says, Piyamim harbe, many times, karisi lafanav b'Daniel, I read in front of the Kohen Gadol in Sefer Daniel. We'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Yotes Amud Aleph.